Nittany Lion Roar with Extreme Panda here, and it's almost the new year, so I bring you the Empires and Puzzles Nerf Watchlist of 2020. So a while back, probably more than a year ago at this point, Empires and Puzzles nerfed some heroes that were too powerful. And the reason they did that was because it was making the game kind of uneven. Everyone was just going after the best heroes and sticking them in, and they were just overpowering everybody. Now, they haven't done this in a while, so this is why I'm putting the Nerf watch list together. But I don't think Empires and Puzzles really wants to be nerfing any heroes because it feels really bad. People spend a lot of money or a lot of time or get really lucky and get one of these great heroes and then put a lot of resources into leveling the heroes only to have them nerfed. It's extremely frustrating, actually to the point where it can drive people away from the game. Regardless, we do still have some overpowered heroes in this game, so I'm going to talk about who they are, whether I think they're going to get a nerf or not, and the reason why they might be deserving of a nerf. Alright, so here we go. First, we have an honorable mention, and that is Guinevere. The problem with Guinevere is that when she gets going, she's incredibly difficult to kill, and it's almost impossible to kill the rest of the team whenever she's going. Look at her defense stat, it's 778, so it's really difficult to go into a match and try to kill her with tiles, which is what you really need to do, and especially once she gets going, she makes it so you can't use your specials, and so tile damage is even more important. And she's got that defense against dark for 4 turns, so even the purple heroes that you bring aren't doing a lot of damage to her. Now, the reason she's an honorable mention and why I don't think she's actually deserving of a nerf, and I don't think she'll get one, is because they've already been trying to provide some solutions to Guinevere. And that is, first of all, effects that prevent mana drain, such as Sashat. They printed a Hero of the Month, Sashat, who can't have her mana drained by Guinevere or others. And they've also been printing some more strong purples to try and counteract Guinevere, such as Ursina. So with more purples and more heroes that prevent mana drain, that's kind of been their solution instead of nerfing Guinevere. We have another honorable mention, and that is Gravemaker. The problem with Gravemaker is that he's too fast for the amount of damage that he does. And I'm not talking about that 135% damage there that he does initially, although that is deceptively high because of his 727 attack stat, but I'm talking about the 298 damage he does over 2 turns. And if you stick a level 11 mana troop on him, then you really only have to make 2 matches in order to get his special to fire. Every other turn, you can be basically burning down the other team. That's not to mention putting emblems on Gravemaker, which makes his flame damage go even higher. So the higher that attack stat, the more burn damage he's going to do. However, he's still only an honorable mention and probably does not need to be nerfed because Empires and Puzzles has already been trying to provide solutions to him. For example, there are effects that they're printing more of that prevent the flame damage, Kingston being one of them. Kingston just doesn't even take flame damage, so he's a good one to take in against Gravemaker. Grizzul is another one that prevents flame damage and is very fast, just like Gravemaker. And of course, there's other ones out there too. Plenty of cleansers, Ariel being one of them is a 5-star, and then Rigard, who I'm really high on, especially the Rigard costume, which is basically a 5-star hero. So there's lots of cleansing effects out there, lots of ways to prevent Gravemaker from doing all that damage. But he is one of the best in the game. He is kind of borderline there. And lastly, we have a hero who I do think is likely and is deserving of a nerf, and that is Ursina. She is too good. And the problem with Ursina is that her attack is way too strong for average speed. We have slow heroes in the game that hit all the heroes that don't do as much damage as she does. And in addition, all allies reflect all status effects and 115% damage from enemies' holy special skills. So, like, what's happening here is if you put, like, if you're going up against an Ursina tank, for example, you really want to bring yellow heroes to stack to try and kill her quickly so she doesn't go off and wreck your team because of that high attack stat. But if you don't get the yellow tiles right away and she goes off, then you're screwed because you can't use the yellow specials on the enemy team. So then you want to bring non-yellow heroes, but you try to like maybe make a 3-2 team or 4-1 or even a mono team to go against Ursina. And again, those heroes with those colors aren't enough to really kill her right off the bat. So like she goes off and wrecks the team anyway. And since you're using other colors than yellow, you often can't just kill her with tile damage. So Ursina is quite overpowered at the moment, and she's just as good at the flank. So if you're using like yellow tanks and you put Ursina behind, it doesn't even matter about the yellow reflect. Usually in the time it takes to kill the tank, Ursina is going to power up and go off, and she just kills everybody on her own. It's just kind of not fair. And when you play a board against Ursina, it really comes down to, and I hate to say it, I really hate the word luck, but it really comes down to if you get the board or not. And that's just shouldn't be how the game is played. I think what attracts people to this game is that there is strategy involved. There's hero specials and there's matchmaking on the board and things like that. And when you can't really use your hero specials the way you should be using them, and when you really have to depend on having a good board to kill Ursina, it's just not how the game is supposed to be played. So if there's going to be a nerf, I think it's going to be Ursina. And what I would recommend to make her better is just to simply decrease her attack a little bit. Okay, first of all, that attack stat does not need to start out as 760. That's just ridiculous. You start putting emblems on her and it goes even higher. So that's one way to do it, is just to lower that attack stat a little bit. That's it. Really then everyone can enjoy using Ursina just like they did before, but she's just not quite as devastating. Really, she should probably be a slow hero, but I get it. They don't usually like to change speeds. The other thing they could do is just leave the attack stat the way it is, and then have her only hit 3 heroes, kind of like how Gravemaker does, or kind of like how Frida does, or some of the elemental debuffers. That'd be another way to do that. Give everybody the Holy Reflect. I think that's fine. I think that's actually kind of a cool special, but only hit like 3 heroes with the special. That would probably be a little better. All right, so that's it. That's the Nerf watch list for 2020. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Whatever the case, go ahead and comment below. Remember to subscribe and like.